Melania Trump allegedly has been counting down the minutes until she can file for divorce from her husband Donald Trump. Some White House insiders have dished out the details for this failing marriage, and we've got everything you need to know. But before we get into today's story, make sure you tap that like button because it really helps us out. Now, it's no question that the last 4 years for Melania Trump have been quite a wild ride. Most of the time she appeared rather unamused at the daily tasks of being the First Lady, unless it meant getting to meet world leaders like Justin Trudeau.
Have you seen this?
It was taken at a moment we were leaning in to kiss each other on the cheek, and the angle makes it look different than it actually is.
It really does.
Other times though, she was just too busy to attend and sent in a body double. Allegedly, I should say. So now that Donald Trump has lost the election, the question on everyone's mind is, could he potentially lose his wife too? If her response to Donald's winning the election against Hillary Clinton back in 2016 is any indication, I would say it's not looking great. Melania famously is said to have burst into tears upon hearing that he won because, according to an inside source, she never even expected him to win. After Trump took office, Melania stayed in New York for 5 months before finally moving to Washington. Allegedly, this was due to the couple's son Bear needing to finish school first. However, former aide Stephanie Wolkoff claims that Melania was actually negotiating a post-nuptial agreement so that Barron would have an equal share in the Trump fortune, almost as if she began her exit strategy 4 years in advance. Ms. Wolkoff even alleged that Melania and Donald had separate bedrooms in the White House, which confirms what she refers to as a transactional marriage. I mean, even before he became the president, one could assume with great certainty that this was indeed a transactional marriage. Just recently, news broke that Melania could receive as much as $50 million in the divorce settlement if she ends up separating from Trump once he leaves office. The process here for Melania though will be a long legal battle, so hopefully she has dotted all of her I's and crossed those T's, because Mr. Trump's prenup agreement with his second wife Marla Maples famously prevented her from even publishing a book or giving an interview where she was critical of him. Although it hasn't been confirmed, it's likely that the First Lady has agreed to something similar. Especially now that he has served as US president, you have to imagine that he's going to do everything to make sure those close to him don't even have a chance to trash what he views as a legacy. This $50 million number though doesn't just appear out of thin air. This number was first proposed by lawyer Jacqueline Newman, who made the prediction when answering a series of questions about the rumored divorce. In the article, the lawyer can be quoted as saying, "In this situation, if she has $50 million, she can afford to buy something, but $50 million, while it's definitely a lot of money, in New York City for what she's used to, she wouldn't be able to replicate what she has now. He probably has a good sense of what kind of lifestyle they'd be living, so I would imagine the payout would be fairly generous." However, there may be some wiggle room for Melania when Trump finally leaves office. For a long time, President Donald Trump has been the subject and instigator of many lawsuits, both prior to taking office and while he's been in the White House. Except because he's the president, he's protected by a level of immunity, and once that immunity has been lifted, he could be vulnerable to prosecution. The Justice Department has had a long-standing policy that a sitting president can never be prosecuted for criminal offenses. Former special counsel Robert Mueller cited this policy back when investigators decided not to make a decision on whether or not Trump obstructed justice during the Russian collusion investigation for the 2016 election. Although some of the biggest legal threats for Trump await him in his hometown of New York City. A Manhattan district attorney named Cyrus Vance has been conducting some of these criminal investigations into Trump and his company's business dealings. While at the same time, New York Attorney General Letitia James is also investigating whether or not Trump and his company committed tax fraud. So it's very possible that Melania Trump is well aware of these legal consequences that her husband is facing and is just waiting for him to be, taken away so that she can end up with everything. A lot of this though still depends on Melania being able to get full custody of their son Barron Trump. Furthermore, the pair noticeably went from acting like a loving family to very cold and distant. The couple were photographed as they arrived for a Veterans Day ceremony, but Melania was pictured holding onto a serviceman's arm instead of her husband's. Former White House aide Omarosa Newman was the first, according to the Daily Mail, to actually say that Melania was counting every minute until he is out of office and she can divorce. However, I'd like to remind all of you that this is merely speculation on the part of the media, and as time goes on, the truth will come out, and when it does, we'll be right here to fill you in on the details. Before I leave you though, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled Top 10 Celebrities Who Canceled Themselves. MLG Gamer says, "I never thought it was possible to cancel yourself, but after this year I think I have a new perspective." Well, at least you're aware of it now, you know? Sherry Bitten says, "Is it just me, or with all Madonna's plastic surgery, is she starting to look like Jeffree Star?" Sherry with the shade. Wow. Pavey Project says, "Wow, I miss Jenna so much and I hope she'll be back one day. Thanks." Not sure what the thanks is for, but I miss Jenna Marbles too. Hopefully she will return. I'm sure she will. Fatima Hamad says, "Please do part 2. We'll see." Jan says, "Jenna is a Virgo and dang, those Virgos are hard on themselves." I don't think it has anything to do with her horoscope. I think it has a lot to do with her sense of humor maybe, but Who knows, maybe those two things are combined. Either way, thank you so much for watching today's video. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy.